Hello, welcome back to another episode of Leointerviews. Today we have Fabi Paolini with us.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here, Leo. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Tell me about you.
Yeah, so first of all, I have 3 kids, and when I told my 10-year-old daughter that you were going to be interviewing me today, she was kind of freaking out, saying, "What do you mean that a 10-year-old or 11-year-old kid is going to be interviewing you? That's crazy." So basically, Leo, I'm originally from Venezuela, which is a country in South America. And about 11 years ago, I moved to the US with my husband, and I had to figure out how to build a business from scratch in a place where basically people didn't know who I was. And that experience taught me everything that I know in terms of how to communicate effectively, what makes you special in a way that people really care about and they pay attention for or they listen to. And so essentially what I do now is I help people who are already really amazing and exceptional at what they do the same thing. How to communicate what they do in a way that gets them impossible to overlook.
What was your biggest challenge building your business, and how did you overcome it?
Well, there were lots of challenges because, again, coming into the US as somebody who did not have necessarily a network of people to reach out to, it was really tough. And so for the first couple of years in my business, I worked really, really hard every single day. And things weren't really working how I thought that they should be. And so one day I was recording myself doing a video talking about what I do, trying to explain it. And then I listened back and I thought, first of all, this sounds kind of basic. And at the same time, it feels like it's very unclear. So what I realize is that being good at something or being exceptional at something isn't enough. You have to be able to really explain it in a very clear way, because for me, the person who is clearest and more compelling is the one that is going to win, not necessarily the person that's working hardest and not even the people who are smartest. So it's really about being very clear in communication. And that was a big kind of obstacle that I came across as I was building my business.
If you think that we could all change the world by doing one thing, what would it be?
Well, that's a really good question. So I feel like, to be honest with you, and this might be like a very cliche thing, but it's really about just being more empathetic with other people and being able to step into their shoes more and understand their perspective and just treating others with that kindness. And it's such a basic principle, but I generally feel that there's so much judgment and, people are immediate to like point and say, you need to do things this way and that way, and not really listen and pay attention to what might be going on in the other person's life or what their perspective might be. And I think that when we're open to doing that, honestly, if more people were able to do that, that would really change the world.
Because just, to like reflect on kindness, like the golden rule is treat others how you want to be treated. So I feel like if like we were all kind to people, people would be kind back to us. But this world is full of dino chicken nuggets and war. That's literally it, And then, of course, there's always some peace, but our world is mainly just filled with, war, hate, chaos, destruction. In other words, it's a nuke, pretty much, about to explode any minute. So I feel like, if we all had kindness, and again, the golden rule is that if we had kindness for others, and, we were kind to them, that they would be kind to us, and we could all be happy together.
100%. I absolutely agree. I think that part of that kindness, though, comes from just being able to put your feet in the shoes of others, seeing the world through their perspective as well, and understanding that not everybody has to think exactly how you do, but you have to at least respect them and be kind to them in the process. So,
Exactly. When you are scared, what is something that helps you feel brave again?
Oof. Okay. So 2 things. Number 1, God, I would say, turning to God, prayer. That is something that is very helpful for me. I do the rosary every single day. Here's my rosary right here. So I pray the rosary every single day, and that helps me stay centered. But then in a more 3D way, let's say it like that, I would say my children. You know, I have three girls, one is 10, one is 7, and one is 4. And just looking at them and knowing what, you know, it's more than I can even describe in words, but just looking at them and trying to always be an example for them, and just is what pushes me to say, no matter how scared I am or how much, you know, uncertainty I might be going through, they're the thing that's going to drive me to keep on moving forward.
Exactly. What is the biggest piece of advice that you could give to someone right now?
Well, I think that for me, to be honest with you, and especially when, well, there's a lot of things that I could say, but especially in regards to at least like the work that I do, I think that, you know, the biggest lesson that I feel like I have is how important it is for us to really be ourselves, and to understand that we don't have to be fitting in order to be successful, right? Which is interesting, because I know when we're kids, like your age, we want to just fit in and we want to make sure that we're liked. But the reality is that it's really almost the opposite. The things that make you different are the things that make you most valuable. And so, for example, Leo, I grew up in a very kind of strange way. You know, I'm from Venezuela, but I lived all over the world. So I lived in Brazil, I lived in Spain, I lived in India, I lived in the US. So I lived everywhere because we got moved a lot as a kid, right? Because of my dad's work. And so I thought for a long time that was kind of weird of me. And, you know, like, why can't you just be, you know, I always love it when people say, I'm born and raised here. And I was like, that's never going to be me. But eventually I realized that growing up the way that I did gave me something that people don't have, or most people don't have. I see patterns that people often miss. I can look at a business and immediately spot what makes them special, even when they can't see it themselves. And so that's my superpower. And it came directly from the thing that I used to think was a disadvantage. So it's not about fitting in, it's about finding what makes you different. And I call this your angle of mastery, right? It's like that combination of everything that you've lived, what you've learned, that unique way in which you are seeing the world, and communicating it really clearly, and just making that thing that nobody else can copy your thing. So that is my advice mostly.
And I know, like, for some people, okay, yeah, this is cheesy. Everyone says it, like, you know, always be you, but it just really is the hard, honest truth, you know, like, exactly, like, everyone tries to fit in, especially, you know, for, I guess, like, some kids who are, like, older, younger, you know, they're like, oh, I gotta fit in, I gotta be treated like him. And you can try to be like someone else, but you don't always want to be someone else, because you are you know? Like,
Yeah.
That's my dog trying to be another type of breed, you know, no, it just doesn't happen, you know?
No.
Like, God all made us special. So, like,
Exactly.
you just can't, no. So, I mean, like, if you want to, you know, maybe have, like, this, like, fun thing that someone does, sure, I get that, but you can't, like, full on copy someone, you know? Like,
Exactly.
you are you know?
There's no reason to try to imitate. I mean, obviously there's good role models to have and things that we can learn from other people always. But in terms of how you're showing up in the world, you can be allowed to be a little bit different. And that's, for example, one of the things that I'm super proud of my daughters. I feel like they're very unique, and they're like, I don't care what the rest of the world is doing. I want to do things my way, and I'm going to dress the way that I want to dress, or whatever that is. And I think that that's actually pretty cool to have as a kid.
And that's like me whenever, like, we go to, I guess, like, Sunday, or when we go to church, right? And I'm like, Mom, look, I know I know I don't go to, like, the kids, like, thing. I'm now in what they call the big room, I guess. But, like, I know I have to wear nice shorts, but can I at least wear some play clothes, you know? Because, like, I don't want to be in, like, a business suit, like, in a tuxedo, like, wearing a tie.
No,
I know some people do that. I mean, I get doing it to weddings, you know, like,
of course.
funerals. Of course, that makes sense. But, like, people wear it to church. Okay, I mean, like, really, you could have wear, like, maybe khaki shorts and then a nice, like, button-up shirt, you know.
Exactly.
And honestly, I don't mind it. But if I could, I'd probably have the chance just to, like, put on a t-shirt and shorts, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Really
one
take-
thing about you, Leo, that I think is really interesting in terms of like, you know, you're a pretty unique kid. I mean, obviously the fact that we're here talking just proves that, right? And so I'm curious though to know from like, what do you think makes you different from other kids your age? Just out of curiosity.
I think a lot of things is I don't want to dive in too much because again, this is me interviewing you. You know,
Sure,
like
that's true.
you're the
Sorry.
main, you know, like spotlight. But probably being homeschooled, and the
Mhm.
thing is, I said this on another podcast where this guy interviewed me. Is that being homeschooled, and like I one of my friends who's about to come over tomorrow. Um, he said, "Man, you're homeschooled. That's amazing." Like, like I don't think every kid wants to be, you know, like waking up to that horrible noise of the alarm clock. I would wake up to a cow mooing or making donkey sounds. Anything, the alarm clock, you know. You know, you have to wake up at a certain time. The bus picks you up. You're
That's
at
true.
school, and most of the time you're tired because you had to wake up early. So most kids sleep, and the teacher doesn't let them do that. So you know they have to just sit there. They're sleeping, but their eyes are open, and they don't really learn too much. You know,
That's true.
and
True.
and being homeschooled is you know it's a blessing, really. You know, like you get to wake up whenever. You can. I'll
Interviewing
just say.
people. How cool is that?
Yeah, and like I can wake up late, you know, maybe like past 10:01, you know, my parents are like, "Wow, it's alive." You know. So like it's a blessing. And the thing is, so many people say this is that oh, if they're homeschooled, they're like socially awkward, they're this, they're that, you know, they don't know how to socialize. And again, same guy who interviewed me said that like most of the kids that he's met are homeschooled, and they're always the most outgoing, the most adventurous, you know, one of the most, you know, knowledgeable kids. Basically they have a brain, you know,
Mhm.
compared to school, which if the FBI takes us down or the government, I understand. The school is a prison. Like it is a eternal loop. Like if you think about it, I don't know if you've seen like those videos or memes, but like it shows like the school and then the prison side by side, and they look the exact same. It's crazy. Like the cafeteria, like that's the same thing. You know, it's this thing, and not to mention, like on how unhealthy. I think this just happened a couple of years ago, or maybe this year. I don't know. But the USA Congress, like they made a statement or something like that, saying that pizza was technically a vegetable for kids'
I
lunches
don't know about that.
because of the tomato sauce. Like that's just so unhealthy.
That's
Like
crazy.
I eat cucumbers, I eat carrots, I eat apples. You could add that in. Like oh yeah, you can add a chocolate milk in ice cream. Like first off, that's like already kind of a lot of sugar,
It
you
is.
know. But pizza, and then I don't know what else is usually in like kids' lunches, but like that's just really unhealthy. And then having to be under like those bright lights that are just white, which white is not the best color for lights. The best color, you know, is like yellow, or there's also red light therapy, which is good for you. Not these bright eye like melting white OLED lights, you know.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's one of the things that you know makes me a bit different.
It
Is
is.
that like is you know the privilege of being homeschooled, because like I just said, a school is a prison. It's an eternal loop. And for maybe like any parents watching this, the advice I give is start homeschooling, because there's sometimes again the government YouTube might take this down, but over time like we'll go to a library and we'll read a book about like I don't know, some like Abraham Lincoln, the guy on the penny, everyone
Right.
knows in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we've noticed, like, just over the past couple years, they're changing up the books, and like, it's becoming this thing to where like they might change, like our history and think, oh, it's actually this, but it wasn't that.
Mm-hmm.
And then America is just becoming unhealthy. Let's face it. I know people out there who love me, lovers pizza, but I'll just say it's probably not the best.
Probably
Like
not.
every once in a while, like maybe once every month, just something like that. So
Exactly.
yeah, I would say being homeschooled is definitely one thing that makes me probably like stand out from kids.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Maybe for some people who are watching this and don't really know what their dream is or what they want to become or what they want to do or what their passion is, they're like, what am I gonna do when I grow up? I do not like if like they don't want to work at Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, taking orders at the drive-through, you know, like people who are still searching for their dream, I guess. What
Mhm.
would you say to them right now?
Well, I think that I would lean into the things that you like and the things that you're great at, right? And for me, and I was telling you a little bit before that one of the things that I do is I help people find what I call their angle of mastery. And their angle of mastery is precisely the things that you're great at and how you communicate those things. And so if you're trying to figure out, well, what is that next step or what do I want to do? You try to find what is your area of mastery or your zone of mastery. What are the things that you're really good at? What are the problems that you're great at solving? And like you would wake up, even if the alarm sounds really early in the morning and you're waking up excited to do because it's something that you love, or you're doing this one thing and suddenly hours have gone by and you're like, wait, what? How can it be that it's nighttime? I didn't even notice. And it's because you're so into it and you love it so much. So I would say really pay attention to what those things are. Oftentimes when you look at all of the things, because typically, we're people who, you're human beings are people who like lots of different things. So when you start looking at, okay, I like this and I like that, and I'm good at this, and I'm great at solving this problem, and my friends come to me for that, you start to see patterns. There's things that are like kind of unique in that, and that's where what you want to follow to help you discover what it is that your purpose should be, or how you should show up, or how you should communicate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I don't know why, but I just want to say this. Daylight savings is crazy over here down south. Like, not to mention, our weather is bonkers. Like, oh yeah, snowing. Oh yeah, just casual, like 40 feet high snowbanks. Usual Texas weather. Then it's 80, then it's raining, then it's cloudy, then it's sunny. And then Sundays usually where it's like repeats. Our weather is very weird. We have a lot of just unnatural things. It can be like, I don't know, like minus, and then oh yeah, it's just casual 90 the next day. Big,
Right. Oh, baby.
yeah. But yeah. And again, to touch like on the alarm thing, like that's just like, okay, yeah, wake up another day. I'm just gonna do my sleeping with my eyes open somehow. So again, the school is an eternal loop. It is basically just you running around, and again, like so much people, like the school, like they're like riding a pig on like with a carrot and a stick. It's like they can be like they're like teasing like students with like, oh, you want to get college? You gotta do that. You got not sometimes even college isn't worth it. And the reason why I say this is like again, like I'm homeschooled, right? And the thing is, I'm not even in college, and I technically pretty much have a job already.
Exactly. You're here
So,
interviewing me, so there you go.
yeah, so like you don't really need like a college degree. You don't need all this to just go work at Chick-fil-A as like, working at a drive-thru. Like, you don't really need all that to get into these high, like, I guess, rankings, right? If you just do, again, like what you say, you do what you like, you don't really need college. And like, it's just, college is also worth so much money. So if you don't go to college, right, you not only do you save a lot of money, but if you do what you like and start making business, like at my age, then you kind of are just chilling for life.
There you
Like
go.
you might go eat a meat lover's pizza every once in a while, and you're just
Once a
chilling.
month. Pizza once a month, Leo.
Yes, yeah, probably once a month. But yeah.
Exactly.
So.
That.
Well, before we wrap up, is there maybe a couple words that you would like to give to my viewers?
So what I would say to Leo and to your viewers and listeners is, I would say start before you feel ready. Like, you don't have to wait until you feel confident to do things. And sometimes we think that we have to feel confident before we take action or before we do things. And the truth is that I feel like confidence comes after you do the scary things, right? So if you have an idea, I would say don't wait. Start small if you need to. Tell one person, try one thing. You're going to figure out the rest as you go. And, that's what I would say. It's just really taking a chance on the things that come up and sometimes the things that God is whispering to you and you're getting as signs as this is something that I'm supposed to be doing, or maybe I should go in this direction, and listen to that. Listen to your intuition and listen to those little whispers and take action on them before you even feel ready. That's what I would say.
Exactly. Well, before we close the episode, is there maybe like a social or website where people can find out more about you?
Yes, absolutely. They can go to readytoinvestclients.com, where what I have there is a training specifically on how to make sure that your message really speaks to the type of people who are actually ready to invest. Basically, Leo, I talk about in that training how to really communicate what makes you different, how to make sure that the way in which you're talking about what you do speaks to people who are like, yes, this is exactly what I need. You are the answer to my prayers. I love what you do. And so that's what I talk about in that training, how to make sure that we communicate that effectively. You can find that at readytoinvestclients.com, and you can find me at Fabi Paolini everywhere, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. If you speak Spanish, I do stuff in Spanish on TikTok, but everywhere else it's in
My dad speaks Spanish as well, so he'll probably tag
good.
you everywhere he can because he loves making connections.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that video.
Yeah. Well, as always, we have our special last big bad bonus question.
Oh.
This is the climax, hopefully I said that correctly, of our podcast. Some people might call like a couple minutes earlier the climax. This is this is where it's this tall. You guys can see.
Yes, I can see.
Yeah. So are you ready for it?
Yes.
All right. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, what is in Venezuela, or if you guys have Coke or Dr. Pepper.
Yes, we do.
But, okay, if you had to choose between a Coke or a Dr. Pepper, which one would you choose?
I would choose a Coke. I'm sorry for the Dr. Pepper fans, but I didn't love it that much. They don't have it in Venezuela, but I told you I grew up everywhere, so they did have it in some of the countries that I lived in as a kid. But my parents didn't get it as much. So I've tasted it. I don't love it. I prefer Coke. But actually, Leo, there is one that I love even more in Venezuela. It's called Frescolita. It is so delicious and I love it. So there you go.
So I think if I'm correct, I did start a poll on my YouTube page. You can check it out. And all the people watching, if you guys want your opinion to be heard, it is on my YouTube page. You guys can go check it out. Leointerviews on YouTube. I have a poll running where you guys can vote for Coke or Dr. Pepper. But if I'm correct, I've interviewed a couple people, and the doctor, I mean, the Coke scales up to like 6 or 5 people. Dr. Pepper sitting at like 3 or 2.
Okay, what is
Takes all
yours?
the
What is
food.
your favorite? Coke or Dr. Pepper?
Coke. And the reason why is I did try Dr. Pepper once, and to me it was a bit too like sweet. Like they
Agreed.
tried to, again, America is just becoming, let's face it, kind of fat. But like for me, it was a bit too sweet. So I like
Yeah.
Coke, you
What
know,
about
because
versus
it's a
Pepsi?
nice carbonated.
How about Coke versus Pepsi?
Oof. I gotta be honest, I've never had a Pepsi in my
Oh,
life,
okay.
so I gotta go Coke.
That makes
But
sense.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah. Well, that's going to be it for today's podcast, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe. Make sure when you guys subscribe, you turn on notifications so you guys get notified when I make a new video, because we are so close to hitting 100 subscribers, guys. It
Let's
would
go,
mean
Leo.
everything to me if you guys subscribed and leave the like and also commented. But yeah, but it was nice meeting you, Fabi.
It was so nice meeting you too, Leo. Keep interviewing people. You're pretty awesome.
Oh, thank you. Well, until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm getting